watching Just the News. I'm Mamata Balachandra. We're starting off today's show with the hijab controversy that's going on in Karnataka for more than a month right now. Protests by Karnataka students over their right to wear a hijab in class is now spreading to other colleges as well. Yesterday, we told you that a group of students from a college in Kundapur, which is in the state of Karnataka, very close to Udupi, saw identical scenes when a group of hijab wearing girls were shut out by the principal and stood outside for 6 hours, pleading to be allowed to attend classes. Now, a similar incident has surfaced today yet again in another college where around 40 students wearing the hijab stood at the gates of a college in Kundapur. The staff refused to allow them in unless they took off their headscarves. Now, the students demanded to know why the administration had banned the hijab when the rules allow it. Now, the college has an instruction manual that says, and I quote, girl students are permitted to wear the scarf inside the campus. However, the color of the scarf should match with dupatta, and no student is allowed to wear any other cloth inside the campus, including the college canteen. And this is according to a report by NDTV. NETV also reported that around 40 Muslim boys also sat outside the college and protested in solidarity with the girls. Now, reacting to these incidents that have been going on for more than a month, Karnataka Home Minister yesterday said that children should neither wear the hijab nor saffron shawls when they go to school, even as he directed the police to watch religious outfits in the coastal region where confrontation is brewing. Now, while many students have been banned from entering colleges with the hijab, what's also happening is we saw protests in Udupi and Kundapur and other parts of the state of Karnataka where several students wore saffron shawls to protest against the ongoing protest itself. To this, the Home Minister then said that neither the hijab nor saffron shawls should be allowed inside colleges and schools, and that police should watch these religious outfits. He told reporters, and I quote, Children don't go to school to practice their religion. They should go to school thinking they're children of Bharat Mata. Inside a school compound, there should not be a hijab or saffron shawls, end quote. Now, similar controversies have cropped up not just in Udupi and Kundapur, but several other colleges in these two districts as well in the state of Karnataka. In fact, a student of Women's Government Pre-University College in Udupi, the first time an incident like this was reported way back towards the end of December, has filed a plea in the Karnataka High Court demanding her right to wear a hijab, and the matter will come up for hearing on the 8th of February. Meanwhile, Congress has come out in support of these students. Congress leader Sashi Tharoor has said that in India, everyone is free to wear what they want. Taking to Twitter, he said, and I quote, if the hijab is disallowed, what about the Sikh turban, the Hindu's forehead mark, the Christian's crucifix? This college is going down a slippery slope. Let the girls in, let them study, let them decide, end quote. In fact, there's also a reaction that's come in from former Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, who went on to say, and I quote, Muslim girls have been wearing headscarves since the beginning. It is their fundamental right. Moving on now, the centre on Thursday has urged the Delhi High Court to defer hearings on pleas seeking criminalization of marital rape, as it has far-reaching socio-legal implications and should await the outcome of the consultative process with stakeholders. While the Centre's counsel have made repeated requests in the court in the last few weeks for adjournment of the proceedings, the Centre for the first time placed its request on record by way of an affidavit on Thursday. Now, the Centre said that the matter has been pending since 2015, and if it waits for such fruitful exercise, it said, for some time, no prejudice would be caused and it will be possible for the government to assist in the court meaningfully. Also in the news, the Union Health Ministry has told the National Board of Examinations to postpone NEET PG 2022, citing representations received from doctors regarding requests to delay the medical entrance test since it's clashing with the counseling date. Now, the exam was earlier set to be held on the 12th of March. 6 MBBS students had filed a plea in the Supreme Court seeking postponement of the exam in order to accommodate candidates who may not be able to appear for the exam as they are yet to complete the mandatory internship period. Now, the Supreme Court bench will resume hearing of that case on Tuesday, which is the 8th of February. Now, after the Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi returned the bill exempting the state from NEET exam, State Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has called an all-party meeting to discuss on the next course of action. Now, TN Governor Ravi had said that the bill is, and I quote, against the interests of students, especially the rural and economically poor students, end quote. Now, to this, in a press statement, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has said that the governor's reasons for returning the bill against NEET are not acceptable to the people of Tamil Nadu. Now, to give you a bit of a context, there's a lot of developments that have happened ever since 2017, where a Dalit girl died by suicide over failing in NEET, and that prompted outrage in the state, and calls for abolition of NEET subsequently followed. Now, the bill introduced by the State Assembly states that entrance test is not fair or equitable method of admission since it favored the rich and elite sections of society. Also in the news, according to a report by Live Law, Tamil Nadu's police chief on Thursday moved to the Supreme Court against the Madras High Court's order transferring the probe into the Thanjavur student's death by suicide to the CBI. Now, the High Court had in its January 31st ordered the CBI to take control of the probe after taking a critical view of the stand taken by the local police, that there was no basis for the allegation that the suicide was due to forced attempts by the girls' missionary school to convert her to Christianity. Now, the Tamil Nadu Director General of Police has said in its petition in the Supreme Court that there was no circumstances necessitating the transfer of the case to the CBI from the state police. He has demanded, in fact, a stay on the High Court order. Now, the girl reportedly drank poison on the 9th of January and died 10 days later. Her father had alleged that she had been tortured after she refused to convert to Christianity. An update now in the case where AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi had yesterday claimed that shots were fired at his car while he was returning to Delhi from Uttar Pradesh. The center has now decided to provide him with Z category security by the CRPF. Now, 2 people have been arrested in this case so far. One of the accused is Sachin, who is a resident of Noida, who has an earlier attempt to murder case against him. The other accused is Shubham, a farmer from Shahranpur who does not have a criminal record. This is according to a report by NDTV, which says that the accused will now be presented in court and police would seek their custody. Also in the news, there is a Chalo Vijayawada protest that's taking place in Andhra Pradesh on Thursday. In fact, thousands of Andhra Pradesh government employees and teachers marched the streets of Vijayawada city to protest against the recent pay revision. Now, for the past few days, the Andhra Pradesh government employees, teachers, and pensioners are strongly opposing the recent pay revision, saying that it was detrimental, in fact, to their interests. The Pay Revision Commission Struggle Committee leaders, on the other hand, have said that this government, and I quote, should realize what the power of employees is. Once we go on an indefinite strike from the 7th of February, the government will only be responsible for any inconvenience caused to people, end quote. Now, the unions have been staging protests for the last couple of weeks, demanding the scrapping of a government order by the YS Jagannath Reddy government fixing new pay scales as per a pay revision, which was announced last month. Also in the news, the Punjab and Haryana High Court on Thursday stayed the Haryana government order of 75% reservation for state domicile in private sector. Now, the court said, and I quote, the core issue is whether any state can restrict employment on the basis of domicile, end quote. Now, the Haryana State Employment of Local Candidates Act 2020, which came into force on the 15th of January, provides 75% reservation in the private sector to job seekers who are domiciled in the state of Haryana. The law also covers private companies, societies, trusts, and partnership firms and applies to jobs that offer a maximum, I beg your pardon, gross monthly salary or wages of up to 30,000 rupees. On to COVID news right now. India has reported 1.49 lakh new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate has in fact gone down to 9.2%. A list of states which are now reporting cases of COVID. Karnataka has reported 14,950 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Bengaluru has been consistent with a little over 6,000 daily COVID cases. Kerala has reported 38,684 new COVID cases. And Mumbai, Maharashtra, has also recorded a consistent number of daily cases with a little over 800 cases. The Indian Council of Medical Research Director General Dr. Balram Bhargava has said that in the Omicron-driven third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in India, a comparatively younger population was more infected than the others. Now, this is according to a survey that was conducted by the ICMR. He also said that the data has been sourced from 37 hospitals across the country. The average age of hospitalization during the third wave was around 44, while earlier the average age was 55. A list of states now that are easing restrictions, starting off with Rajasthan. Rajasthan government on Friday issued an order lifting the night curfew from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. across the state with effect from the 5th of February. Now, according to the order, maximum of 250 people will be allowed to attend all public gatherings, including wedding ceremonies. Religious places will be allowed to open for devotees as well. The Odisha government has announced that schools for classes 8 to 12, colleges, universities, and other technical and professional educational institutions in the state will reopen from the 7th of February. Now, physical classes for the students from classes 1 to 7 may start from the 14th of February. The state government has also allowed the institutions to reopen their hostels. Delhi, in fact, has also eased restrictions. Schools, colleges, and coaching institutes in Delhi can reopen from Monday. The Delhi government has also allowed gyms, swimming pools, and spas to reopen next week. Now, the duration of night curfew has been reduced by an hour. Meanwhile, according to the WHO, the Omicron coronavirus subvariant known as BA.2 has been found across Africa, and countries should sequence more coronavirus samples to the extent of its spread that can be determined. Now, according to a Bloomberg report, a virologist from WHO has said, and I quote, "We're a bit concerned that we have missed some of the BA.2 in some of the samples that we've screened previously," end quote. Now, yesterday, if you remember, in an interview with NDTV, WHO's chief scientist, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, had said that herd immunity to fight COVID is a foolish idea. Moving on to environment news now, this is the Hindustan Times report, which has said that a parliamentary panel has suggested that the government could ask banks and financial institutions to earmark a share of their investments in the renewable energy sector to meet the growing demand for funds in this sector. Now, in its latest report, the Committee on Energy has noted that India is targeting an installation of 175 gigawatts renewable energy by 2022. Additionally, the union government has also envisaged an additional investment of about 17 trillion rupees, and the country requires about 1.5 to 2 trillion rupees annual investment. And now news coming in from across the world. Our focus continues on the Russia-Ukraine tensions. The US has now claimed that Russia is planning to stage a fake Ukrainian attack that it would use to justify an invasion. Now, it has alleged that Moscow was likely to release a graphic video showing the attack on Russian territory or against Russian-speaking people in eastern Ukraine. Now, Russia, however, denied that it was planning to fabricate an attack, and the US did not provide evidence to support that claim. Now, this has obviously come after the buildup of troops on the border of Ukraine, and that has escalated tensions. Now, Moscow says that they are there for military drills, but Ukraine and its Western allies remain concerned that Russia is planning to launch an attack. Meanwhile, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin have now signed a joint statement calling on the West to abandon the ideologized approaches of the Cold War. The two leaders showcased their warming relationship amid a tense standoff with the West ahead of the Beijing Olympics. Now, in a joint statement released by the Kremlin, Putin and Xi called on NATO to rule out expansion in Eastern Europe. Also, in the news, the European Union Commission President said that the EU has prepared a robust and comprehensive package of sanctions to impose on Russia if it continues its aggression towards Ukraine. Now, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline that would send Russian gas to Western Europe is also part of this sanctions package. On to sports news right now. Beijing's Winter Olympics has kick-started today and will end on the 20th of February. This comes amid COVID and diplomatic boycotts that have been called by several countries, including the US, Canada, and Australia. Now, yesterday, if you remember, India had said that it would not attend the opening or closing ceremony of the Beijing Winter Olympics. This was after China made a PLA soldier involved in the Galwan Valley clash as a torchbearer. Now, India described China's choice of that PLA soldier as regrettable. And one piece of good news before we wrap up things here on this bulletin: Indian Institute of Science, based in Bengaluru, on Thursday said that it installed and commissioned one of India's most powerful supercomputers called Param Pravega under the National Supercomputing Mission. Now, the system has a total supercomputing capacity of 3.3 petaflops, which means one petaflop equals a quadrillion operations per second. Now, these systems have greatly helped faculty members and students carry out major R&D activities, including developing platforms for genomics and drug discovery. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching.